If you could choose which monsters are returning to Wilds, which ones would you pick? I know everyone has their list. I have my list. That's what I'm going to be going over today. Happy hunting to all low rank and master rank hunters alike. This is the Navarre Jenkins channel. Today I'm going to be covering my list, my top 10, I would say, in no particular order, by the way, but just my top 10 or 10 monsters that I think should be returning to Wilds. I think they're very fit to be in the game. Without any further ado, I don't want to hold y'all up. Let's go ahead and get into this list. The first monster I have is Keta Watcha, actually. Keta Watcha is basically a jokester monkey monster. The reason I'm putting this monster in the list is because, one, we already have a lot of monkeys coming to the game that are confirmed. We have Kongalala and Ajarikon, which are 2, and I think there's going to be more, so I think Keta Watcha would be a great fit. He's kind of more of like the comedic relief of Monster Hunter. You know, he's not a very serious monster. He's very entertaining though. But yeah, that being said, I think he would be a great fit. I think his color scheme as well fits Wilds pretty well. You know, like the orange, the bright orange kind of, acacia-like color with the African landscape of Wilds and the Windward Plains. I think it would go really well. Is all I'm saying. So yeah, Keta Watcha I think is a great fit. Next up, I am saying Agnor. I think Agnor is a monster that absolutely needs to return. It's a shame, honestly, that they didn't put him in Iceborne, in my opinion, or Rise or Sunbreak. I don't think he was in Rise and Sunbreak. I don't know. But anyway, perfect monster for the oil well basin and its like lava molten form or whatever, heated form. I don't know what they call it. But anyway, I think it would be a great monster to fight down there. I don't really see it being in any other region, so I think that's probably the only place you're going to be able to fight it. But yeah, that being said, Agnor, peak monster, you know, needs to be in the game for sure. Next up, I actually have Malfestio. Malfestio is an owl monster, and basically what this monster does is it hypnotizes your hunter, your character in game, and causes your controls to be inverted. I think that is a wonderful mechanic that needs to be brought back for some monster. I think Malfestio is the OG for that mechanic, so they just need to bring him back. Absolutely needs to be in the game. I would say probably in the Scarlet Forest or the Windward Plains, maybe. I think those are the only 2 that he would really fit into, so yeah, Malfestio definitely needs to be back in the game, I would say. Next up, I have Najarala. Najarala, I think, again, just a perfect monster for like the Windward Plains or the Scarlet Forest. Like, absolutely peak monster, in my opinion. You know, we need more snake monsters, I think. The only ones we really have are Najarala and Dalamadur, and Dalamadur is like, you know, it's like a mile long or whatever the fuck. So Najarala definitely needs to be in the game. Perfect monster, again, for the Windward Plains or the Scarlet Forest. So put him in the game, get him in the game. Najarala. Next up, I actually have Yaruga. Yaruga is notorious for hunting young Kutku, so hence why I'm wanting Yaruga to return. I think that would be like a great dynamic to see a Yaruga hunting a young Kutku like firsthand, especially if young Kutku is going to be like a herd monster now, or a pack monster. So imagine seeing a pack of young Kutku try to like displace in the air around a Yaruga hunting it. That would be it would just be so sick. That being said, I think we're seeing a lot of like African documentary going on, like with monsters that are hunting each other. I'm not going to say who specifically, but I think that's like kind of a theme that's going on. But yeah, Yaruga definitely needs to return. One of my favorite monsters from World Iceborne, so yeah, absolutely needs to come back. Next up is Copper Blangonga. I know this is like a controversial monster, and I don't think a lot of people really like this monster. I'm not sure if they hate him necessarily, but he's like kind of like a bland monster. Basically, if you don't know, you know, Blangonga is like a herd monster or a pack monster, like at heart. They like team up on you. But Copper Blangonga is basically a Blangonga that wandered or like, you know, walked into a desert and became like a lone wolf. And I think that's a perfect fit for Wilds. For one, they also look like mandrills. So again, just I think they could really beef him up too, make him a little bit larger maybe, you know, because there's a whole lore thing with Blongas and Blangongas and whatnot. But yeah, beef him up, make him similar to Rajang, but not fully on the power scale of Rajang. But yeah, definitely needs to return in my opinion. One of my favorites, or one of the top contenders for me for returning monsters. Next up, I have a Contour and Ukanlos, or a Cantor and Ukanlos, whatever. So a Contour is definitely going to be in the oil well basin. Basically, this monster that, it's not even an elder dragon. They're so big. They're actually flying wyverns, which makes no fucking sense, but that doesn't matter. And it has these tusks that it, you know, it's like Diablos. It kind of drills into the ground, or, you know, tunnels into the ground. I think it's a perfect monster to return. I think we need more like underground digging monsters. I like Diablos and its fight. But yeah, and then Ukanlos would definitely be in a tundra biome if they release that. I'm not sure if they are, but definitely needs to be in a tundra biome. It's basically the same as a Contour, but this one is in the snow and it still digs under the ground and pops up like Diablos again. I think this pair would be like perfect, right? Kind of like the Teostra, Lunastra of Wild. So definitely another top contender for returning monsters for sure. Next up, I'm actually putting Tetsu Cabra. I know it's a surprise, but I don't think it's a surprise to many. And the reason for this is because Capcom loves to put monsters with very similar names. Just some examples of this are Zitsuyaku, Kuliyaku, Yaruga, Radoban, Teostra, Lunastra, Lao Shenlong, and Shingarin. So just like they love to do this theme where monsters have similar like phonics or whatever. So we already have Cabra, so why wouldn't Tetsu Cabra return? I think it's, and they're both like frog monsters, so I think it's very clear. I think they're kind of hinting at that. I think that's like a monster that's going to return for sure. Again, great training monster as well for like the Windward Plains and the Scarlet Forest. I think this monster has got to return. Like I think this is one of the ones that I'm definitely confident in returning. But yeah, it would be a great monster to return. So Tetsu Cabra. Next up, I'm actually putting Celtis and Celtis Queen. The reason for this is because again, they're doing this African documentary thing on how cruel nature can truly be. So I think Celtis and Celtis Queen, that kind of dynamic or relationship they have is a perfect example of that. If you don't know, Celtis Queen literally used their own Celtis as like an army and use them as slaves and drain their life force to keep her alive. It's pretty brutal, and I think that would be a great demonstration for wilds, right? The wilds, the African, the jungle, you know what I'm saying? They really need to focus on that, and I think Celtis and Celtis Queen would be a perfect candidate for a returning monster for sure. Lastly, I know I said these were not in any particular order, but honestly this one, the single one, is the one that I hope returns the most, and that is Monoblos, right? We had Diablos, he's been in Iceborne and World, he was in Rise and Sunbreak. They need to fucking retire him for a couple games, man. Put that shit away, okay? Bring back the OG Monoblos. Okay, if you don't know, in past games, Monoblos, you can only fight him solo, because in Monster Hunter lore, basically a hunter lost his lover, went back to fight the Monoblos as a revenge, right? So the lover died to Monoblos, and he slayed it on his own. So there on then, you could only fight Monoblos as a solo mission. So that being said, it would be a perfect monster to teach beginning hunters how to fight on their own. And it's just a great monster. It's a great design. I would love to see this monster in new gen graphics. Like, holy shit, dude. They need to bring this monster back. It's a perfect candidate. Like, that's it. Final end of discussion. That's the end of this video. But no. So Monoblos. I know you were asking yourself, like, why no elders? I think I covered this in the beginning of the video. But again, basically what Capcom is doing is I don't think they're putting any elders in the game, because in Monster Hunter lore, only master rank hunters are allowed to hunt or have clearance to hunt the elders. So I think what they're doing is actually a very smart idea, and I hope that in the DLC there's like a really large surge of elders. I think that'd be really cool to have. But yeah, I fully agree with what they're doing. I don't think that that many elders should be in wilds. So, you know, I think they're making a good design choice. You know, I trust them. That is the end of this video. If you enjoy, like, subscribe, again, comment, and watch out for any, you know, new uploads coming. I'm trying to upload pretty consistently, so, you know, it'll probably be here in about 3 to 4 days after this video. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, thank you for the hunts. I'll see you on our next expedition, man.